Hello, good afternoon, friends. Now, today we have uh, to study about the stages of the life, the different stages of the life. In our last lecture, we have heard about the life situations. So, in continuation to that, today we are going to understand about the different stages, right from the birth till the death. There are different stages that you have to understand their importance and the contributions for the formation of the disease is also important. So we are going to study this today, and I am going to upload my PPT. Friends, it is like to tomb. From the homeopathic perspective, we are going to understand what is the importance at different stages of the life. So it is life to womb. But life is a journey, we all know. It is from the womb, it begins from the womb and ends in the tomb. So it is a big journey where begins from the womb in the mother womb uterus, and then it ends into the tomb or the graveyard. So this is a big journey that we are going to study today. Uh, so what is life? It is 10% of what happens to you, and 90% how you respond to it. So life is only a 10% that what happened, what how you are. So this 10% and how what has responded, what has happened to your life. It is the rest of the things depend on the things that has been happened to your life. In, During the entire period of the life, you have to suffer from the different type of. You have to face the different challenges. You have to meet the different requirements. You have to build up your life. You have to live the life, and all these phenomena they correspond. They have an effect on your personality. People are like the ocean. Some parts are visible, but most of you can't be shallow, full of truth and deep, full of the dark mystery. What we see, it is not always complete. It is like your some, which is only the surface that we see, but most of the parts are hidden behind it. So past life journey. Now this is the past life. Past life means when we are not born, and we come into the existence. So this is invisible with the trace of remnant through the parents' history. What we get, it is we get the information from our parent history, what we were earlier, and what we may be there now. It is the inheritance is the importance of physical and mental properties through genetic transference provide the background for construction of constitutions. Okay, so it is all about the inheritance. We inherit the organic inheritance, environmental inheritance, and cultural inheritance. So life is about the inheritance. We adopt, we take it, and this is the important things that we have to understand. So there are the father and mother. The carrier is the father and the mother, and they contribute. And we have we find that out of that we are born. 25% are normal, whereas 50% are carrier and 25% are affected. So this is very important information to know the background of the parents, because the parents' inheritance have got great role, because father is also a carrier, mother is also a carrier, and they are contributing to all their children. This is the Mendelian inheritance law that we have understood till date. So birth is the outcome of love. How we are born? We are born out of the love between the father and the mother. So love is a flower which turns into the fruit of the marriage. So after the marriage, the two people meet together and they bear a fruit that is known as the birth. So journey of the present life begins with the all instinct of the past inherited things property from the parents. It is not only that what we have, it is also that what we have taken from your parents, and they are also the part of our life. So in the totality of the symptoms, there are some parts, hidden parts, and they come from the parents' history, the family history, the past history. So they have to be contributed together so that we can understand the complete totality of the for selection of the medicines. So inherited character in the genes are not always harmonious. Sometimes diseased characters provide a ground for nurturing miasmatic development. So it is not that every time we are born in a normal way. Many a time we are born in a miasmatic disordered way, or you can say the diseased character. Now, how we are born? The, the process of born is the millions of sperms. They try to fertilize a single ovum. Only one succeeds. Out of the millions of the sperm, only one ovum is successful in fertilizing. So it is a great competitions. We are born out of the competitions. The man who is born is one of the most competent person born on this earth, because out of the million sperms, only one sperm he represents, only one represents. And this is very important information that about the importance of the human life. The importance will help tell you that how much you are important and how much you are realistic about, or how much you carry on the theme of the man. Life is born out of the competitions. Entering after in a competition success, so it is the birth. Entering after a competition in the success. So birth defect. Now, this birth is that there are many problems that happen. Genetic problems caused when one or more gene doesn't work properly or part of a gene is missing. Problems all with chromosomes such as having an extra chromosomal or missing part of a chromosome. So this is important things that you can understand birth defects. And many of the patients come to you, they are born with the genetic defects. So whether it is curable and how it is curable, it has to be found out. And only we know what type of the genetic problem the patient has got. This is the things that we have. So two main type of the birth defects are there. There are the structural defects, birth defects related to the problem with the body part, some physical problem including the cleft lip or cleft palate, heart defects such as misshaped valves and abnormal limbs such as the club foot. They also include neural tube defects such as spina bifida problem that are related to the growth and development of the brain and the spinal cord. Then there are the functional birth defects. It is related to the problem how body part or body system works. These problems often lead to the developmental disability. Then nervous system or the brain problem, such as learning disability, mental retardations, behavioral disorder, speech or language difficulties, convulsion and movement trouble. Some example of birth defects that affect nervous system includes autism, Down syndrome, Padre-Will syndrome, and Fragile X syndrome. Then sensory problems such as blindness, cataract, and other visual problems are varying degree of hearing loss, including the deafness. Metabolic disorder, it involves a body or chemical pathway or reactions such as conditions that limit the body ability to get rid of waste materials or harmful chemicals. Two common metabolic disorders are phenylketonuria and hypothyroidism. Then degenerative disorders are conditions that might not be obvious at birth but causes one or more aspects of health to steadily get worse. For example, X-linked adrenal dystrophy (XALD), which was focused on the movie Lerner oil related syndrome, muscle dystrophy, and less lysosomal disorders are examples of the degenerative disorders. And birth defects are caused by combinations of factors. Some recognized patterns of birth defects affect many parts of the problem in the body, leading to to the both structural and functional problems. Now, with this birth, with this we enter into the uterus of the mother. So it is called the uterine life or the fetal life. So it is a life is in a closed, narrow space, floating in the fluid. What this is the status. The life is floating within the fluid, floating fluids in a narrow space of the very narrow space, and it gradually develops. And defects generated in uterine life. Now, so many defects may generate nutrition in pregnancy, then external physical shock or constraint due to growth in a restricted space. For multicellular organisms that develop in womb, the physical interference or presence of other similar developing organisms such as twins, then environmental factor that the woman is exposed to during pregnancy such as rubella or German measles while pregnant or using drugs or alcohol during the pregnancy. So these are the constraints, these are the things which affects our, which can begin at the in the uterine life. Then there are the GBS. Group B stress is one of the many bacteria that can live in the body and usually don't cause any problem. It is typically found in the urinary, digestive, and reproductive tracts. Pregnant women also can pass the infection to their babies during the labor and the delivery. And two types of GBS disease in babies. Early onset infection, the most common type occur during the first week of the life, and late onset infection developed in baby week to months after the birth. Then fever, feeding problems, breathing problems, irritability or fussiness, inactivity or limpiness, inability to maintain an adequate body temperature. These are the things that may happen during your. Now the birth begins, and this is called, I call it the freedom from a cage life within the womb. So within the womb, after coming out from the womb, coming out from the uterus, this is called the birth, and it can be taken as becoming freedom from the caged life, the prisoners. Some babies faces difficulty, face delivery room complications, like meconian aspirations, fetal distress, breech positions, placenta previa, nuchal cord, cephalopelvic disappropriations, labor inductions and elective cesarean, instrumental delivery, mechanical fetal injury, intrauterine asphyxia. So now, during the pregnancy, before the pregnancy, and after the birth also, and while you are getting birth, you can acquire, the persons can acquire so many types of development. So there are always chances for acquiring a disease. Now comes the journey of life, begins with the dormant mind and most dependent body. Now, with this baby who comes into the on the environment, the mind is almost nowhere, and it is the most dependent. Body is almost dependent. So man, regarded as an animal, has been created more helpless than all other animals. Helpless, not hopeless. So we are the helpless animal, but you can see Dr. Henneman has also written that man is born as a most helpless creature on this earth. As other animals who are born, they all have some type of the protective measures for their life. Man alone painfully escapes from this mother womb. Soft, tender, naked, defenseless, and destitute of all that can render existence supportable of all wherewith nature endowed the worm of the dust to render a life happy. Now you are coming out with what? Naked, defenseless, helpless, as a destitute, and this And here it has to survive. And only on the mercy of your parents, on the guardian, mercy of the guardian, and the mercy of the nature. So man is subject to a far larger number of diseases than animals who are born with secret knowledge of the remedial means for these invisible enemies of life, instinct. You can see when a dog becomes sick, they search for some grasses, some type of the herbs, and it is common for almost all the animals. But man is not like that. They they are not born like that. They have to find out. They have to depend on others for the remedial purpose. So behold, the eternal source of all love only disgenerated man of the animal nature in order to endow him with all richly, more richly with the spark of divinity, a mind. What we are the only instrument that is mind, which enables mind to elicit for himself the satisfaction of all his requirements and a full measure of all conceivable benefits, and to develop from himself to the innumerable advantages that exalt the children of this earth far above every other living thing in mind. So this is the essence of the life. That indestructible itself is capable of creating for its fragile animal nature more powerful means for its sustenance, protection, defense, and comfort than any of the most favorable creatures can boast of having derived directly from the nature. The father of mankind had chiefly recognized on this faculty of the human mind to discover remedial agent for his protection from the malady and accidents to which the delicate organism of man is exposed. So see how the creativity here in the mind help that the body can afford itself for the removal of disease is but small and very limited, so that the mind is so much comes of the disease of the body, remedy more deficient kind that it has seemed good in the creator into implant in the organic tissue alone. Now, childhood is a age span ranging from birth till the adolescence. So, fully dependent, partially dependent, and then independent. So, childhood is divided into the developmental stage. It is the learning to walk, then early childhood, the play age, middle childhood, the school age, and adolescence, the puberty through the post puberty. So various childhood factors could affect a person's attitude and the formations. The struggle for sustenance and endurance. This is called the childhood age. Struggle for sustenance and endurance. Adolescence describes the teenage years between 13 to 19 and can be considered the transitional stage from the childhood to the adulthood. And disorientation and discovery is the age of the adolescence. Adolescence can be a time of both disorientation and discovery. The transitional period can bring up issues of independence and self-identity. In any given year, about 20% of the adolescents will experience a mental health problem, most commonly depression or anxiety. The risk is increased by experience of violence, humiliation, devaluations, and poverty, and suicide is one of the leading cause of the death in the young children, young people. Health issues affecting the young people are early pregnancy or childbirth, HIV, malnutrition, mental health, tobacco use, harmful use of alcohol, violence, and the injury. Now, timing for the puberty can have important psychological and social consequences. Puberty occurs through a long process and begins with a surge in hormone production, which in turn causes a number of physical changes. So, adolescence problems are The growth spurts is a rapid increase in the individual height and growth weight during puberty, resulting from the simultaneous release of growth hormone, thyroid hormone, and the androgen. Reproduction related changes. Between the age to 10 to 25, the brain undergoes changes that have important implications for the behavior. Cognitive development. Now, at this stage, improvement in the cognitive ability, attention, memory, processing speed, organization, hypothetical and abstract thinking, relativistic thinking, wisdom, or the capacity for insight and judgment and risk taking. Adolescence is a stage of life in which the individual thoughts and starts taking more of an abstract form and the endocentric through the increases. So now these are the problems that may independence, body image, sexuality, and peer relationship. So they bring low self-esteem, depressions, criminal antisocial activity, drug abuse, and premarital sex. So adolescent sustenance abuse is also there. Poor academic performance, job instability, teen pregnancy, stealing, vandalism, and violence, overdose, isolation, and the depression, and exclusion of other activities. Adulthood. Now we come to the adulthood. Adulthood can be divided into the three stages: independent, shared, and responsibility. Attend full size and strength, grown up, mature. Now adulthood is known as the full size. You have attained the full size and you are matured now. But there are the three stages: early childhood, young adults in their late teen and early 20. Age 30 transitions close around the 28 to 30 years and setting down after the relative upheavals of the early 30s in the middle to the late, the establishment phase, and midlife transitions roughly between 40 to 45 years. Some stages of individuation, a movement towards balance and wholeness over time. The key changes in early adulthood and midlife. Early adult transition is 16 to 24, forming a life structure 24 to 28, settling down is 29 to 34, becoming one's own man it is 35 to 40, and midlife transitions it is early 40s, and re-stabilizations into the late adulthood, that is the age 45 and onward. Historically, the cross-cultural adulthood has been determined primarily by the start of puberty, the appearance of secondary sex characteristics such as menstruation in women, ejaculation in men, and pubic hair in both sexes. In the past, a person usually moved from the status of child directly to the status of adult, often with this shift being marked by some type of coming in of age test or ceremony. After the social construct of adolescence was created, and adulthood is split into the two forms, biological adulthood and the social adulthood. So biological adulthood is a human being that has reached sexual maturity. Legally, adulthood means the one can engage in contract, for example, parents losing parenting rights and duty regarding the person concerned, parents losing financial responsibility, marriage, voting, having a job, serving in the military, buying, possession, firearms. So it is the achievements, is the succeed, imaginations, explore, dream, life, inspires, creation, and learning. All these constitute to be the man, adult man. So field of examination for changes across the broad range of the development stage. We have to think about the motor skill, cognitive development, executive function, moral understanding, social changes, personality, emotional development, self-concept, and identity development. So examination of the influence of nature and nurture on the process of development and process of change in context and across the time. Interaction between personal characteristics, the individual behavior, and environmental factors, including social context and the built-up environment. The sixth aspect of being adult, we have an adult has got must have this. The man can be called regarded as adult who have the rationality, formulation and implementation of the goals, equality in the relationship, active versus passive, non-defensiveness and openness, and personal power. So all these constitute the being an adult. There are variety of biopsychological meta models, but all entails a commitment. Human development happens in concurrently at biological, psychological, and social level throughout the life, and a full descriptive account of development must include all the three levels. Development at each of the three levels reciprocal influence the other two levels, therefore nature, biology, nurture, social environment are in context, complex interactions when considering how and why psychological development occurs. Biological, psychological, and social descriptions and explanations are all as valid as each other. No level has got primacy over the other two. Any aspect of human development is best described and explained in relation to the whole person and their social context, as well as the biologic and cognitive affective part. This can be called holistic or contextualist viewpoint, which has been incorporated in our homeopathy as totality of the symptoms. Friends, an adult body undergoes a variety of physical changes that causes health to decline, a higher risk of contracting the variety of illness, both physical and mental, is possible. And during the adulthood, you can see the cancer which is being shown, the majority of cancer cases occur in those over the 40 years of the age. Arthritis, osteoarthritis is one of the most commonly experienced illness in adults as they age. Then cardiovascular disease, hypertension, and high cholesterol also have been found to increase the likelihood of acquiring cardiovascular disease, which are also commonly found in older age. And immune system starts to flow and become less effective. So these are the illness that may be associated with the aging factors and that we have to consider. If it is at the adulthood age, it has got the environment aspect. But if these diseases are observed in the childhood or adolescence, must have the birth defects or the miasmatic disorders. Optimizing the health and mental well-being in the adult. How we can improve our health? Exercising 4 or 6 times a week for 30 to 60 minutes and has physical and cognitive effects. Physical activity reduces loss of function by 10% each decade after the age of 60 years. Cardiac activity like walking promotes endurance, while strength, flexibility, and balance. Diet containing food with calcium, fiber, and potassium are especially important for good health, while eliminating food with high sodium or fat contents. Then mental stimulation and optimizing are vital to health and well-being in late adulthood. Adults who participate in intellectually stimulating activities every day are more likely to maintain their cognitive faculty and are less likely to show a decline in memory ability. Mental exercise activities such as crossword puzzles, spatial reasoning tasks, and other mentally stimulating activities can help adults increase their brain fitness. Optimizing community engagement, physical activity, and emotional support can help adults maintain their resiliency as they continue through their lifespan. Age brings problems, it also brings solutions. For every disadvantage, there is an advantage. For every measurable loss, there is an immeasurable gain. This is very important theme that we can feel. Now, age is a prison from which we cannot escape. This is very important. And old age adds to the respect due to the virtue, but it takes nothing from the contempt inspired by vices. It whitens only the hair. Older people do age in different ways and in different rates, and aging can be measured in terms of four key dimensions. Chronological age based on the birth date, then biological aging based on the physical changes, social aging based on the social expectation of the older people, and social aging based on the social expectations of older people, and then psychological aging, the age people inwardly feel based on the level of the developmental maturity. Wild man who caught and sang the sun in flight and learned too late, they grieved it on it. Do not get gentle into that good night. So aging process is of course a biological reality which has its own dynamic largely beyond human control. However, it is also subject to the construction by which uh, each society makes sense of old age in the development of developed toward the chronological time play a paramount role. So the age of 60 or 65, roughly equivalent to the retirement age in most developed countries, is said to be the beginning of the old age. In many parts of the developing world, chronological time has little or no importance with the meaning of old age. Others socially construct meaning of age are more significant, such as the role assigned to the older people. Aging means a loss of number of the skills over the time. In some cases, it is the loss of role accompanying physical decline, which is significant in defining age, old age. In contrast to the chronological milestone which marks life's stages in the developed world, old age in many developing countries is seen to begin at the point when active contribution is no longer possible. So aged body is different physiologically from the younger adulthood, and during old age, the decline of the various organ system becomes manifest. Previous health issue and lifestyle choice produces a different constellation of the disease and symptoms in different people. The appearance of symptoms depend on the remaining healthy reserve in the organs. So, healthy aging, feeding, language, activity, adequate nutrition, frailty and functional support, and the care. So this is the process of the healthy aging. So age plus significant disease, either dementia, arthritis, palliative care, osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, Parkinson disease, arteriosclerosis, heart disease, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. So elderly people require a specific attention to medications. Elderly people particularly are subject to polypharmacy, taking multiple medications. Some elderly people have multiple medical disorders. Some have self-prescribed many herbal medications and over-the-counter drugs. This polypharmacy may increase the risk of drug interactions or adverse drug reactions. The presentation of the disease in elderly persons may be vague or non-specific, or it may include delirium or falls. Pneumonia, for example, may present a low-grade fever and confusion rather than high fever and coughs in the younger people. Some elderly people may find it hard to describe their symptoms in words, especially if the disease is causing confusion and if they have cognitive impairment. So increased complexity. In the elderly person, delirium in the elderly person may be caused by a minor problem such as constipation or by something as serious as life-threatening or as a heart attack. Many of these problems are treatable if the root cause can be discovered. The decline in physiological result in organs makes the elderly develop some kind of disease and have more complications from mild problems such as dehydration or mild gastroenteritis. Multiple problems may compound. Mild fever in elderly person may cause confusion, which may lead to the fall and to fracture. of the neck of the femur. So it is called geriatric giant. Geriatric giant are major categories of the impairment that appear in elderly people, especially as they begin to age. This includes immobility, instability, incontinence, and impaired intellect, memory, impaired vision, and hearing loss are common chronic problems among the older people. So, what is geriatric psychiatry? Fast-growing field of the psychiatry, branch of medicine concerned with the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of physical and psychological disorders in the elderly and with the promotion of longevity. And managing the elderly patients requires a special knowledge, the possible differences in mental health presentation, frequent coexistence and complicated chronic medical disease, multiple medications, drug interactions, pharmacodynamics and pharmacokinetics, and aging specific issues. So one who always serve and respect elderly person is blessed with four things: long life, wisdom, fame, and power. It is our very Manusmriti message for all of us. If we love and respect our elder, our life will be long, our wisdom will be more, our fame will be more, and we will have the power. So life goes on. Whether you choose to move on or to take a chance in the unknown or stay behind, locked in the past, thinking of what could be happening. So this is the stage we have crossed, and we have to go and we have to die, and we have to die, but we have to get reborn again. So my life isn't a perfect, but I am grateful to it. So thank you uh, for having a patience listening to this feature of the life stages. If you have any questions, you can ask me at rightatl@gmail.com or WhatsApp me at the 9431020612. Thank you very much. So I see some of the people here. Uh, I welcome you. But at this end of this program, I hope I have given you some message about the life, and this will be useful when you are analyzing a case for your totality of the symptoms. This is important things that we can utilize this lecture, because this is the process of the case taking, where everything you have to do, you have to learn, and you have to act, and you have to select the medicine. So with this, I just close down this session, and we will meet again on the next Thursday with the new program. Thank you very much.